All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Lino, for allowing me to do this interview with you. Today is November 29, 2025, 4:30 p.m. And then this is for the my class oral history report for my Pacific Literature class. It's to preserve the memories of our community and for experience of our studies in school. Okay. So,
Great,
Mr. Lino,
great, great.
Mr. Lino, where were you born and raised?
Born and raised here in the island of Saipan.
Saipan. Okay. So how was it like growing up during your childhood?
Gosh, I grew up just when the war came to the island. The war came here in 1940, I think 1944 or something. I was 4 years, 5 years then. So I went through that period, during that wartime. Uh, on one hand, when I look at it, it's kind of maybe a good thing because I see the whole community come together to rebuild the island, after the war. So it kind of bring the community together to do just that. So working very closely with other people at young age, I learned a lot from them. Basically, as a young kid, we were doing just farming and fishing, after the war. Yes, a lot of excitement back then.
I see. So most of the time it's farming and fishing. So as a child during the time of war growing up, did you have to also go to school or was it mostly, rebuilding everything?
I, I quit schooling. I can get tired sitting in the classroom, learning ABC and all that. It goes in one year to another. I never finished my schooling. I don't think I even finished elementary
Mm.
because I go out fishing. When I see them out here host up the sail, my heart kind of follow that boat when the wind get in the sail and it pushes off. Often time I'll pretend I got stomachache and I'll tell my sister and my mom, I'm not going to school, I got upset stomach. Then my mom would tell my sister, go tell Lino teacher that he's not going to school because he's sick. As soon as my sister went off to school, I ran to the beach and jumped on the boat with the men. And they look at me, you don't go to school, I'm going fishing. So they shout over on the beach, say Lino parents that is not going to school, is coming with us fishing. I grew up in that activity of the environment back then.
Mhm.
It was more or less hands-on, so that's how I learned a lot in fishing and using our farm with old people, that generation of people that they don't go to school, they don't speak
Mhm.
Japanese, they don't speak English, but they're very good in advising the community, on what to do. We have a group of elders that do that, and every now and then we have a meeting among our community. Yes, I grew up in that.
I see. Sounds very memorable. Okay. So I understand that in the Carolinian culture, sailing is very important, particularly right in the Caroline Islands, in the outer islands. Could you share your experience of when you started to learn about sailing?
Uh, well, I grew up with several of my uncle who built sailboat, one mast, one sail out of plywood. As a matter of fact, one of my uncle gave me his fastest boat, gave it to me. They did build boat out of plywood. Uh, so I grew up sailing just here to Managaha, on that plywood made boat. Not until in 70, gosh, I forgot the year was that the canoe from the outer island came up. I think it was in 70s, 1972, 73, when the first canoe from the outer island came up. And it's totally different from the plywood canoe boat that we built. It's really like like a spaceship out of the blue came landing on the beach right down there. So when I saw that, man, I went running and look at the guys. I look at the canoe. It's totally different from our boats that are made out of plywood. So that's how I was introduced to that.
Okay, sounds very interesting. So, you know, in Carolinian culture, the sea travelers, long before modern times, we don't have any instruments, right? They don't use any very any tools besides, you know, what they learned as they grow up and they learn to sail, right? So, long before their voyages, what are some of the techniques that, you know, they did to learn how to navigate the ocean to the other islands?
I think growing up, listening to our parents at home when they talk about our family in the other island and how great seafarers they were, I heard that from early childhood. But the first canoe that reconnected us was in 1971, 72. You know, when I saw those two canoes, first it was just one canoe down here on the beach. One morning early, I go out and I saw that canoe down there, so I went there and saw some of the crew at that canoe. It was intriguing kind of canoe.
Mhm.
It's totally different from the boats we build out of plywood.
Mhm.
So I get to see the first navigator that reconnected us. His name is Repangalu. And I got connected with him because I work for the Peace Corps program. We teach them our language. And one of Repangalu's younger brother, his name is Joseph Tawel, was also one of the language teacher for the Peace Corps YAP. And we met at Hapud where all the Peace Corps volunteers in 70, I think, were gathered at Hapud. So that's how I met Joseph Tawel, Repangalu's younger brother, who told me about his brother who be coming up on the canoe the following year. So that thing going in one ear of mine and the other, I pay no attention to it. Until the following year, like I was saying, I go out here one early morning and I look to my left and I saw that canoe, one canoe. And that information that his brother told me, you know, ran in my ears. So I ran down and we entertained them and I introduced myself. And Repangalu say, "Who are you? How do you know my name?" Say, "Well, your brother told me about it." So we became even closer with the navigator that first reopened Conecas. His name is Repangalu.
Mhm.
But I know him through his younger brother, Joseph Tawel.
Okay, I see. So you mentioned you worked with the Peace Corps
Yes.
before. How was that like before the Peace Corps entered, you know, in the CNMI, you know, compared to how much have they helped, you know, with rebuilding, you know, the CNMI or Saipan in particular?
It was that program kind of freaked me out, to say it bluntly. I didn't know that I was also losing my language until the Peace Corps volunteer came, and I got hooked up with them. I was one of the language teachers, and through our program and even after our program, you know, where we sort of exchange.
Mhm.
We teach the Peace Corps volunteer what the island is like, the indigenous here people. They also teach us what the American democratic system is. They even teach us that you can sue your own government. So, oh yeah, you know, that was a very unlikely, very strange to me, because my upbringing or Caribbean culture respect our elders, whether they're right or not. But we keep our mouth shut and listen more than anything. We listen, keep our mouth shut and listen. And then the Peace Corps volunteer came up and said, "No, you can speak up against your government. You know, you things you don't like." So I start opening up. You know, I start complaining. I say, "Well, why this? Why that? How come there's no written language in the school for Chamorro and Carolinian. So through those efforts, we start to have the bilingual program. So I was part of that movement.
I see.
It was quite interesting on
Yeah.
my part because I was kind of getting out of my traditional shell, coconut shell, opening up to so I can sue my government. Say, oh yeah, I can speak up against them. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
totally against my upbringing. We
Yeah.
we listen more than anything. So
Okay.
it was a learning for myself as well.
I see. So when you learn for yourself more about your culture growing up in Saipan, you really didn't have the traditional way of growing up, with Carolinians, how they do in the Caroline Islands, right?
Yes.
So what have you done to try to, regain those traditions, those learning for yourself?
it was a turning point when we're going to vote to become part of America family. Commonwealth the way we are today. Carolinian are minority in numbers when it comes to voting. We can vote all we want, but our numbers is very small. We were overwhelmed by some other votes, they're outnumbered. So they're the one that more or less voted to become part of American family under the Commonwealth that we're enjoying today. But back then like I said, I grew up in a traditional family, and there are many things about my heritage that I still need to understand. So I don't have, although I grew up with the other people here, I still need more than that. So when we when we were getting ready to choose to become Commonwealth, I took it upon myself in 71, 72 to leave the island and go to Central Carolina and look into my heritage. So I spent about almost 3 years over there trying to understand who I am, by actually live with the family over there, with the language and things we do. It was very pure Carolinian. So I have that 2-3 years looking back into my heritage. So when I got back here, I am more educated in who I am before I become part of United States family. So I got that anchorage, by spending several years in the outer island. So it's quite a sacrifice for me as well, because I don't even know how to wear my loincloth. I put it up and it kept falling down. But it was interesting to interview all people that were there at the time.
I see. So I guess when you were out there, you visited the Caroline Islands, you experienced some culture shock that you're not used to here on Saipan.
I'm glad you used the right word, culture shock. Even for me, trying to learn who I am, it was a shocking experience. Very true, very true.
So what do you think were the most shocking or like most outstanding that you never knew before you set off to the Caroline Islands?
The biggest impact, that I realized when I was there was keeping my mouth shut and listen more than anything, and keeping my loincloth on, make sure you don't fall out during meetings, at the man's house. I was very uncomfortable with my loincloth for almost a year. After that, I forgot I'm wearing loincloth. Even going fishing with it, it won't come off. So it was a culture shock even for myself.
I see. So it took you about a year to get used to it when you stayed there.
Right, a year to adjust to the way the life is on the island. No running water, no electricity, no movie theater, all that. And to be able to be comfortable in my loincloth, running around, I've completely forgot about it. But for almost a year when I first got there, my loincloth kept falling off. I remember, I think in the book that I just gave you, I think I mentioned when Mao and I got back to the island, I woke up the next morning to relieve myself. I didn't know that my loincloth was in the house and I was standing outside naked.
Oh,
And Ma said, "What, you got to go out there like that naked?" I couldn't even keep my loincloth on.
yeah,
So it was quite a learning
I see.
for me to go back to my
Yeah, a lot of
heritage.
adjustments, a lot of things to learn. I think
Yes.
it's pretty exciting also when you're learning all these things, right, about your culture
Yes,
yourself.
it is exactly just what I wanted. You
Hmm.
know,
I
just
see.
like what I wanted to learn.
So, when you traveled there, coming back, how did the life there shift the way you see life here on Saipan?
Uh, when I came back, I was having problem communicating with not so much the older people, but the young generation, like my age and below my age. During campaign, political campaign, because I was very vocal during political campaign,
Mm-hmm.
because I speak Chamorro fluently, just like the way I speak my language.
Mm-hmm.
And in each village, when we campaign and we come to the Carolinian villages, I'll be speaking in Carolinian. And when I look out, only the old people will clap because they understand exactly what I was saying.
Mm-hmm.
Then I realized that the youth, Carolinian youth, they don't quite grab the word I was using.
Mm-hmm.
Then I have to adjust my language. I have to make it. I don't use those very respectful form.
Mm-hmm.
So I start to adjust my language. And then when I look out during campaign, I start to see old people clapping and the young generation clapping at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But at first, when I was using Carolinian language during campaign,
Mm-hmm.
only older people, I see them standing
Mm-hmm.
up and clapping.
I see.
So I changed a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I use youth, language so both can understand.
Mm-hmm. So I see, to gain attention, you have to be able to relate to everybody, right? Not
Eh,
only the older people, but even the younger generation for them to understand you.
Right, and
Right.
that's when it tells me that a lot of our languages were on the verge of losing them. A lot of them during that political campaign when I start talking and I look out and only old people clap when I use those formal form of speaking in public. Then I have to adjust, put in the slang words so young people who Carolinian can
Mhm.
also understand. It was quite a challenge.
Okay. So before coming back to Saipan, do you think you gained all the necessary information about your culture, enough of it to bring back here?
Not really. 2 years, probably even 3 years. I don't think it would be enough. But when I made that decision to leave Saipan to go there to the outer island, I told myself and my family that I'll be there for about 5 years. That was my intention. Stay there for 5 years. But I only last about 2 years, almost 3 years. Then I
Mhm.
come back.
I see.
But even with that, I think it was fair enough for me to really stand up to speak in Carolinian and let people understand who I am.
I see. That's it's a very brave decision for you to go out there just to bring back that sense of belonging, like what it is with knowing yourself, right? Knowing your culture. So, and it's a lot of people, I bet they appreciate that, when you
Y-
extend that to, other people and their families as well.
Yes, I'm sure they did. Let me give you one example. We were campaigning, yeah, village to village, Republican and Democrat. I got hooked up with a Democrat. Uh, my good friend, family member Pete, they passed away. Pete and Herman Guerrero. They said, "Hey, we need Carolinian in our group."
Mm.
Uh, the movement that time was the what was the name? Constitution. We're gonna make our constitution,
Mhm.
and it have nothing to do with the party. Because when you make constitution, it's for all the community, all the people.
Mhm.
Party doesn't mean that much. But the Democrats were after me and they want me to run under their banner, which I did. So, to give you example, I was campaigning under a Democrat, but all the Carolinians were with the Republican Party. So we were campaigning at my auntie house, Felix and Kina Rabalaman. You probably find it in the book, I mentioned in the book. And my uncle, Mr. Tebeteb, Isidro Tebeteb, my cousin Tom Tebeteb was getting ready to go off island to go to college. My uncle Isidro Tebeteb was calling the family. So it's important that we gather because Tom was leaving for school. And they were staying at Olia, next to Olia Elementary School, my uncle. Then my late wife Vic and I went up there to attend that family gathering for Tom, who was leaving for school. Nobody was there. And then my late wife said, they're probably up on Capitol Hill with Kina, Felix Rabalaman house on Capitol Hill. And I look at my wife, I said, politics again. It's going to be in the family gathering. But the calling, my uncle calling is, we're going to come because Tom was going off to school. We need to listen to wisdom that they're going to share to Tom. Our elders, like our uncle, auntie, who speak to Tom. We call that Pai the school, which is like your provision going to school. They'll give you those wisdom. Be good. Don't forget you have family here. Things like that, but it's probably more than that. So we listened when they were advising Tom, talking to Tom. Anyway, we finally went up to Capitol Hill, and sure enough, there were politicians already campaigning, but it was supposedly to be a family gathering because Tom was going off to school. But the Republican Party came and they were campaigning, and Felix and Kina Rabalaman house is probably in the book that I gave you. And as I turned in, I saw my uncle, Mr. Tudisi Rutepute, who originated the whole thing. He was sitting by himself on a picnic table. So I drove by car right next to him, and I got out, and because I was furious. I was going to scold my uncle. So we were sitting in front of him. I said, what's this? Is this the kind of a family gathering? I start to scold him, and then they keep announcing my name. Mr. Olopai, come and say a few words. Don't be shy. But it was a campaign, no longer family gathering. Whoever the chairman of that group was calling my name and keep saying, don't be shy, come and say a few words, blah, blah, Mr. Olopai, come and say a few words. And I was scolding my uncle at the same time. I was finished and I was furious. So I went up to the mic and grabbed the mic and I said, to tell you the truth, I would rather hear our elders speak than me. I'm just this, but call our elders and let them speak and I'll listen. Then I give the mic back. That was all I said. I don't say speech, I don't say anything. Say, our elders need to speak, not me, not you, I think that got to them. And my uncle was really crying. That's right, my son. Went back to him. What do you mean? That's right. You ruined the whole family gathering. You bring politics in the middle of family gathering.
Yeah.
So that was that. I think I played quite an impact on that.
So I see that you emphasize a lot of listening and learning from the elders a lot.
Yes.
A lot of the younger generations, the way they find it, I think that's how they ground themselves. Like the elders are the foundation, right, to learning everything they need to know about themselves, about their culture. So because of nowadays, modernization and everything, so much has changed in the community. How should the younger generations engage with their culture? How do they learn, maybe is it by the way you learn it too? How should they learn it nowadays?
Gosh, it's quite a challenge because the Western teaching, it gives everybody a right to speak their mind. Uh, whether you're going to speak up against your uncle and auntie, Western concept, it allows that.
Yeah.
You can speak up against your parents, agree with them or do not agree with them. It's a no for the Carolinians. We don't do that.
Yeah.
So it was quite an impact for me to adjust into that. Like I said, when I went up there, I said, no, our uncle here, they're the ones should be speaking in this political thing. So I hand the mic back to whoever it was. But that's the Western way of giving everybody right to speak their mind. Even those who are not firm or mature yet, to think, wisely, think fairly. I'd give them that right. So anybody can speak up, whether you're chief or not. Speak up against the chief. Speak up against your parents. That's a Western concept of freedom of education and speech. We don't do that. We, in our community, if they say community meeting, in our family, there'll be only one person who is speaking for our family. We'll gather at the canoe house, and only that person will speak on our behalf. Not all of us.
I see.
But we're there to listen, but only one will speak on our behalf.
I see. So,
Those are a lot of different.
so in today's day and age, apart from speaking up for themselves, how much do you think the people now has kept their or has preserved their traditions? The way it is back then compared to now.
Gosh, to speak bluntly about that, it's not. I don't think they understand their heritage. They're more into computer or the technology. Moving forward out of the Stone Age, they need to go beyond the Stone Age and accept the high technical things that are coming. Internet, it's all over the world. They're serving the world. But I don't know if they can observe that big world, the whole earth.
Yeah.
I don't think so. Our brain can only handle, my brain at least can only handle so much.
So people are moving with change, right? In the future. So, but for you, with all this experience that you've had, you are considered as an elder now, right? You are a cultural leader and elder. So, what do you think this? What purpose do you think this serves for you, personally?
Oh, it really enhanced me, and it really put me where I wanted to be. Understand who I am and keep your mouth shut. That's what I kept telling myself. Just know who you are, and that's it. People will see you as who you are, not somebody else. Don't act like a movie star, because people know that you're not a movie star, but be yourself. And I think people will respect you more that way than anything else.
I see. Okay. So, apart from everything else that we discussed, is there anything else you want to add on, or to shed further light into as we conclude this interview?
Yeah, I think I can contribute, just like we mentioned, we need to understand ourselves first. We're not trying to raise or prejudice against others, but I think the reason behind those races and prejudice toward each other, because we lack or do not understand us first, so we tend to criticize others. But I think if you have firm understanding of who we are, we tend to listen more than criticize other people. And I mean, that's how I am today.
Yeah. And I see that it really it really shows you as a person, you know, how you want to present yourself, how you want your world to act on it too. So
Yes.
you know, that's something that everyone can appreciate and really learn from, and serves as a guide for them as well, right? Going into whatever everyday life they're doing, is always to trust in themselves, be themselves, and to, you know, just respect. With
Right,
respect.
yeah. Be yourself.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much, Uncle Lino. You know, I appreciate our talk today.
No